Uh, Connection's been playing up tonight, so but we'll finish it off. It's been a really interesting discussion with David. So yeah, any questions as always, more than happy to answer. Just wait for David to come back in. Um, yeah, as I say, so if you've got any questions, keep on asking. The connection's playing up a little bit, but we will finish it off, the discussion. Um, Great points from the people what have been in here, and also obviously from David. I'm looking forward again, as I say, for Monday night with four new guests again, all women show, and obviously, hopefully, as I say, I'll be announcing a massive guest for next Thursday night in the next couple of days. So keep an eye out for that. Really going to be massive for Let Us Talk. Just waiting for the connection to work again. So I have turned the Wi-Fi off already. Hello, mate.
Hiya, buddy. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
All right. Yeah, it's all right. I think it's playing up for a little bit anyway. Obviously, I think the Instagram. A lot of people saying everyone. Yes. So sorry, I was just mentioning about the guest for next week. But I
Yeah.
haven't announced it yet. But she's taking all the credit for it because she actually got him on. So yeah. Yes, it was because of you, Zoe. But we're announcing in the next couple of days anyway. But yeah, no, as we was talking about, so now touching on it with maybe the educational side of it, um, going into the educational side of it, do you feel that it should be maybe put in the curriculum a little bit more in schools so people understand it at a younger age, and then if they're struggling with mental health as well, they may understand it and want to talk to people.
Yeah, I think so. If you make it, I'm trying to think the best way to put it. I think if mental health support is around you all of the time, and I'm not suggesting it becomes part of the curriculum, but what I think would really help is, and again, it's what we're looking at doing over in Denver, is that you don't make a sports academy, which is what we're doing over there, but liken that to a school. You don't make it a sports academy where people with mental health problems go. You make it an academy or a school whereby mental health support is the norm and it's talked about,
Mm.
and the education is there. And I'm sure they must talk about, it's a long time since I was at school, but I'm pretty sure they must talk about mental health. And again, I have a family member who's going through school, just finished, and the support within the school there was actually really very good for her anxiety.
Mm.
So I think it's there. I just think it almost needs to become the norm.
Yeah.
And you only do that by constantly talking about it or keeping it in people's faces, which goes back
Yeah.
to what you were saying about the profile.
Yeah, it's sad though that as we spoke about a little bit with the profile, that it takes somebody maybe celebrity status or um, footballer who, or in general, a celebrity status, that they have to put it out there, and it's not bigger with just the normal here and there or the normal person, you know what I mean, who's trying to show awareness. It takes somebody. But somebody was saying, we were saying it on Monday night though, we don't think it's sustainable, even with a celebrity status, and you look at it, because the media don't help through it as well.
Mm.
Because you look at the story of the latest one and probably the most high profile, from the outside, everything like that. Caroline, like, she looked like she's got a perfect job, one of the top presenters on ITV, big shows. From the outside, she looks fine, but obviously she was going through a lot of demons, and to a certain, for a big degree, the media didn't help her situation, because all they done was report on her relationship and what was going on in her relationship and everything like that. They wasn't thinking how that was going to affect her mental health. So for me, the media have a lot to say, not only celebrities, but they have a lot to say on people's mental health as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're dead right. I think the case you talked to was quite high profile, wasn't it? And I think sensationalism within the media is what sells newspapers, let's have a go at newspapers, is what sells newspapers. And so that sensationalism has to continue. And there's no thought or very little thought for that individual just because you're in the public eye. They do try to knock you down. They do. And it's wrong, and I'm sure they're very sorry, but hopefully there's been a lesson learned there, Jamie.
Yeah, it just feels that sometimes a lot of things are brushed under the carpet, and they only want to, not only from the media, but in general, the world, people just see what they want to see. And I'm not saying you can stop that, don't get me wrong, but I just feel that people need to be a lot more open-minded around people's struggles, or if they're struggling with mental health, because it can affect, just the tiniest word can affect somebody's mental health to tip them over.
Yeah, definitely. They call it the straw that broke the camel's back, don't they? There's only so much people can take, and everybody's different. There's different levels of what you can take before it pushes you over the edge, and I think we all have to be mindful of that. Whether we're talking about the press or whether we're talking about the people we come into contact with on a daily basis. I mean, I heard a story, a good story, of a chap whose best friend died from mental health. And every now and again, whilst he's driving around, he would literally just wave at people as he was driving through villages or at traffic lights and what have you, because he wondered whether or not it would, a smile or somebody waving or somebody saying hello to his mate would have stopped him from taking that life-ending step.
Yeah.
So it's very much about being mindful of others.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of questions I've asked you. Do you want to touch on a little bit what obviously the Core Sports Together program does help and looks at in mental health? As you say, like, it's more maybe in Denver what you're looking at it, or thing, but I know that you wanted to obviously touch on it and what Core Sports actually does within mental health as well, apart from obviously what you do with Core Sports.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And I'm not going to go and try and sell Core Sports, but what I'm going to do is try and give you the reasoning behind why we do what we do. So physical health is, if you've got good physical health, the chances are you've got a better chance of better mental health. So therefore, a more accessible, a more affordable, and a safe grassroots sports sector is good for mental health. It has to be. If it's more accessible, i.e. there's more choice. If you're not a football fan or a rugby fan or a cricket fan, but you want to play dodgeball, we at Koi Sports believe that you should be able to access dodgeball, because sport's so important to affecting many, many different things for many, many different people. And so that certainly is one of the areas that we look to develop when we're driving the investment. We look to be able to make emerging sports as accessible and affordable as possible. But we right from the start, we put into place what we call the Power of Five network, which is where Caroline McRoyal sits as a champion. We have a network of about 30 champions. Coupled with that, we have what we call role models, which are current elite athletes who maybe want to show their caring side, other than in footballers' cases, maybe their smart car or their latest flat, whatever it might be. And then we have ambassadors. So ambassadors are those that are coming towards the end of their professional career. And the reason we do this is, more than anything, is to create a family environment, a support network. And if you look at what we spoke about earlier, when an elite athlete finishes their career, either early or just naturally, if they have something else going on alongside their career within the sector that they're most likely to be interested in, then straight away, if you ever fall out of that professional environment, I'm not saying you would, but there's every chance that you could fall into the COI Sports support mechanism, and we would then ensure that that person was kept busy, or we would go out and look for opportunities for them. And that's kind of borne out really by one of our Brazilian ambassadors, Denilson, the ex-Arsenal player.
Yeah.
We're trying to help him find a new club. Now, I'm not saying that's directly linked to mental health, but it's certainly going to improve his mental health if we can help him to find another club.
Yeah.
Now, the likelihood is somebody else will find that club for him. But that's what COI Sports is here to do, is almost like help the role models and the ambassadors whilst they're in their career and whilst they're outside of their career. We've got a ex-rugby union player, Tyrese Johnson-Fisher. He's a role model of ours. He's switching from rugby to American football. And so he's gone from the UK, or he's going from the UK over to America to play college football. So we have a champion, Rich Weston, out in Denver. And he's preparing a support function for Tyrese for when he arrives. Now, that's not wrapping him up in cotton wool. That's making sure that there's a family who's connected to Rich out there to be able to, take a phone call or be there to listen or be there to help if Tyrese ever needs it, and he may never need it. But it's that knowing that it's there.
It's there.
So this Power of Five network is supposed to be a family environment. And when I put messages on the interviews that you do that I listen in on, Jamie, I'm always there to offer my telephone number to speak, because I would like to think all of our champions would do that. I'm not saying they would offer up their mobile phone number, but they would be there to talk to, and they'd be mindful of people's mental health, because sport is such a good place to bring mental health issues to the fore. But also it's a sector as well that breeds mental health problems with all of the pressures that go with being an elite athlete. So it's one of those sectors we think we can operate in within COI Sport, but we need the money to be able to put the initiatives into place, and that comes from the commercial sector, which is where the program that you mentioned, the Together program, delivers that. But it's keeping that investment into grassroots sport to keep it safe and be able to do all the things we want to do.
Yeah. Obviously, that's great, and you've gone into detail, and that's great for all the listeners when they go back to it, and hopefully some people in here now as well. So if anyone obviously does need support, David at the end will obviously say whatever his handles, his mobile, if he wants to put it out there, and if anyone does need help as well, David's there obviously to listen. If he doesn't know the answers, and hopefully one of the many people he's involved in, hopefully they will know the answers, and he can pass on to other people to help as well. So as you say, it's about connecting with as many people as you can, because if you haven't got the answers, then maybe somebody who has the answers, or can help that person who may be struggling as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it goes the same for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people understandably don't want to give out their own personal mobile number. I 100% understand that. But I'm pretty sure the people that join your Instagram lives and the people that appear on your Instagram lives, if somebody needed them, they would be there. It's just my choice to take it to the next level and offer my direct contact details out, because I've been there and I know people that have been there, and I'm hoping that I can make a difference through COI Sports for mental health. And so it would be wrong for me not to offer that kind of level of personal information so that people could pick up the phone if they wanted to. It's just my idea of doing it the right way.
On that subject of, I've asked this many times, and I feel it's a great point. And listen, we're not knocking. This is just my view and my experience from it. And what you said tonight and other people said, the specialists are so great. Look, they're specialists. They've gone in the education, and they've learned about mental health, and they've gone to maybe university, and listen, they're magical people. Like, when I'm not knocking them for what they've done, but sometimes I've always felt you can't beat somebody who may have gone through it, or been around the situation of a person who's had mental health, to pass on their experiences, because you can't beat a life experience from my point of view. What's your thoughts, obviously, on that?
Agree 100%. I think you need a combination of both. You need those academics who understand it and that practice it and study different ways in which you can treat different things. But you honestly can't beat a chat with somebody who's been there. It's just finding that person, because sometimes they won't admit, that they've been there. And that goes back to the stigma that you were talking about. But yeah, in an ideal world, I think every time you go and speak with somebody who's been there and had the experience, because they're talking from lived experience.
Yeah. What do you feel, I don't know, the government or within, obviously I talk about football because that's what I'm involved in, but do you feel the FA or the government or in general projects or associations could put more money in to funding for projects, maybe like yourself to a certain degree, or just outside people who want to show more awareness, and it's going back to that sustained campaign of mental health. Do you feel they should be putting more money in, or have more funding for these projects?
Yeah, believe me, there is enough money to go around. It's just a case of apportioning the wealth, sharing the wealth, which is a worn out saying, I know, but it's true. It really is. And I understand the importance of competition, being from a business background and running a business. I understand the importance of Koi Sports, Koi Sports, Koi Sports for me, rather than me.
Yeah.
But we know from the Together program, it's not a sexy area that we work in. It's gas and electricity, but you identify how rich the commercial model of brokering utilities is. You apply our social enterprise ethic. All of a sudden, in one fell swoop, yesterday, we identified £120,000 worth of savings. With a reinvestment of something like £15,000 of Koi Sports profits, which will then go back into something. So you're not telling me that there isn't money out there. It's commercialism, it's greed that stops that happening. Now, I'm not pointing the finger at anybody in particular, but within sport, certain sports, there is a lot of money, and I will never believe anybody that tells me that there isn't. It is there. It is, and they should share it. But there's so many different things. I mean, you've got so many important issues out there at the moment. The Black Lives Matters, for example, money needs to go towards that. I just think more money needs to go towards everything, because it's there. Why wouldn't you spend it? Other than the fact that there's greed attached to it.
100%.
And mental health needs to be up there, Jamie. It's that important. It's that important in anybody of any age, and you should find the money for that. And within certain sports, it's there, so spend it. So, excuse my French.
Yeah, 100%. Last question. What are your overall thoughts on mental health? If somebody's struggling with mental health, what do you feel they may, what they could do? And also, if you are around somebody with mental health, what is your advice to them to help that person?
So I think mental health should be taken extremely seriously by everybody, no matter what your age, no matter what your circumstance. And that should be reciprocated by people understanding that people may have mental health problems, whether you can see them or whether you can't. It just comes down to being a good person, really. For me, it's about being decent to people, being welcoming, being open, but perhaps not to the point where you're welcoming everybody in. But you need, I think, especially around your circle of friends, whether that be work friends or social friends, or within your sports club, you need to be mindful, you really do, of people's feelings. And if you see you even have a suspicion that your teammate or a work colleague is having a tough time, I'm not saying you should sit them down and counsel them. I think you should be asking after them. Maybe take them out of a situation, go out of your way to say hello to a stranger. It seems a bit weird, but for me, I think that kind of thing makes perfect sense. And anybody that's struggling, who believes sincerely that they have an issue, whether it be just an inkling or whether you be falling into the pits of despair, go and find somebody to talk to. And if you combine all of that, Jamie, hopefully everybody with an issue should have somewhere to go. because I think
Yeah.
that's the problem sometimes. People don't believe that they have anywhere that they can go.
Yeah.
So just being everybody being more mindful of others would be a great start.
100%. Before, obviously, I let you go. Throw out all your handles and whatever you want to obviously say before you go.
Yeah, Koi Sports is really important to us that grassroots sports becomes a safe and sustainable sector. Um, Touching on mental health, I'll give you my number now because I understand it'll go out on YouTube as well. Will it, this, Jamie?
Yeah, yeah.
So my number is 07376 871514. That's 07376 871514. Please, please, please ring that. Alternatively, you can find me on Twitter at Koi Sports CIC or on Instagram at Koi Sports, and that's KOI Sports with an S at the end. And my email address is david.johnson, JOHNSON, hyphen Rayner, RAYN, that's N for Norman, ER, at koisports.co.uk.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, David. Obviously, you stepped in at a last minute as well, so but it was a real interesting conversation, and it gave me a bit more insight into what obviously core sports are doing for mental health as well. Not only obviously what you do for grassroots football, or not football, sports in general. In the UK and actually in the world now. So it's gave me a lot of insight for that as well. So thanks for coming on, sharing obviously your experiences as well as mental health, opening up. And if anyone watching or watching back this needs to have a chat, David will obviously be there. I'm there. And if we haven't got the answers, then hopefully we can pass you on to somebody through Core Sports or somebody we know who can help with the answers and maybe help you if you are struggling.
Jamie, can I just say thanks very much for having me on? I really appreciate it, and what you're doing is fantastic. It's all about raising that awareness, and you do it so well with some great guests. So thank you, pal. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. And we'll catch up real soon. Thank you very much for
Nice to look
coming on,
forward to
mate.
it. No problem,
Bye-bye.
pal. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. So again, thank you for David from coming on from Core Sports, doing wonderful things for grassroots football, investing back into it, giving back to communities all over the world, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. As he said, he's only been doing it for around 18 months. So keep a lookout for obviously Core Sports, and if you need any advice on anything within grassroots football, I would contact him. And also, as he said, if you've got any struggles with mental health and he hasn't got the answers, he's got a whole big team what hopefully will be able to be help and support you as well. I'm back, as I say, on Monday night with 4 more fantastic guests. Another all-women night. Really looking forward to it again. Different aspects again of mental health and what they've gone through away from football as well. Thank you, Sonia. I'm looking forward to Monday night as well for you coming on. Obviously, the industry I'm in, football, a lot of these guests are from a football background or a sports background. Monday night, it's a little bit of a change. A couple are from a football background, but some of them are not. So it'd be good to hear a wider range on mental health. So again, I'm back on Monday night, 8 o'clock. If anyone's having a struggle or they need to talk, you know where I am. Also, David and any of the other guests, you can look back on tonight's interview on mental health hashtag Let Us Talk on YouTube, or any of the past interviews as well on there. So again, look out for the big announcement over the next couple of days for next Thursday's guest, 8:30. It's a massive one. Thanks for Zoe for sorting it out again. I will be back on Monday night. Keep a lookout, as I say, for the massive guest next Thursday. Anyone's got any problems, I'm here. You know where I am. It's finished tonight. Keep safe. Let us talk.